Hi, and welcome to A Cup of Tea with Steve. No, no, I can't start today without talking about something that's affected us all, not just the football. Uh, Samuel Luis, a beautiful young man coming out of a gay club. The last words he had before he died was faggot. It's just terrifying that in this day and age this happens. And my guest today, who I just so admire and I'm so grateful to have on, is someone that fights tirelessly for the LGBT community, for those that feel a little bit different, and himself is just an incredible icon. Welcome, David Hoyle.
Oh, thank you very much, Stephen. That's lovely. And also, like yourself, I've been absolutely devastated by what's been going on in Spain. It's unbelievable. And apparently also in Liverpool. Liverpool recently has had a lot of really horrific homophobic assaults and attacks and this sort of thing.
It is like we go one step forward and two step back.
Yeah,
It's just, I mean, one of the
yeah.
questions, do you think we'll ever see an end to homophobia?
Not as long as adults are teaching children that it's inherently wrong and that we are fit victims for people to take out the frustrations on. And also, a lot of these people, when they're analysed, they say that the whole basis of homophobia is that the people who do it are actually that way inclined themselves. You know, this is the complex psychology behind it. But whilst people are children and adults are telling them it's either against nature, against God, it's to do with demonic possession, all this nonsense, then sadly, we are going to still be victims of homophobia.
David, it's interesting you say that. I belong to something called diversity role models, and we go into schools, as you probably know yourself, and talk about being LGBT and tell our stories. And I must say, some of the reactions are really good. But every single time that question comes up, religion.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, people never read the Bible properly. They just pick one little bit and give it bad PR.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, they do seize on it. Yeah.
Yourself, you grew up in Blackpool with a religious family.
Correct.
How did it affect you, Greg? What was your childhood like?
Well, I think the religious aspects of it can only make you want to die. They don't make you want to live. And you're very aware as a child that you're going to grow into an adult who's going to be a member of the LGBT plus community.
Yeah.
And looking back, I sort of dreaded becoming an adult. And I think this is the price that we pay. It's absolutely wicked. No child on earth should want to take its own life. And I did.
I mean, you've said that going to school was like going to on a battlefield.
It was like going to your own death on a daily basis.
There's so many young gay people that aren't out yet or are at school that might be listening to this. What would you say to a child that's in your position right now?
I would say to remember that not everybody is an idiot. There's a good chance that the people who bully you are gay themselves and they're very screwed up. I would also say, hold on. Time goes very quickly and it's a case of holding on. I tried to hold on, and when I was 14, I did have some kind of existential crisis and ended up on tablets and all the rest of it. But I was just hoping to get to 16 and then to just leave home and move away, get out of that horrible atmosphere.
That's so true. I mean, Blackpool's so diverse because it has some of the best gay clubs in it, and also
yeah.
you have to run quite quickly.
Yeah, well, it didn't have the big gay scene that it became, in those days. We just had a wonderful place called Lucy's Bar, which I adored, and that was a true community.
Yeah.
And I went there as soon as I was a teenager, and I met some lovely people, some of whom I still know to this day.
Oh, that's fantastic. Now, how has isolation been for you as an artist?
Okay, well, I'm trying to be upbeat, but I have to say that I've found it very difficult, Stephen, really. I think the forced isolation, the fact that my opportunity to sort of offload and to sort of express myself, I felt was taken away. So so all that pressure built up inside me. When I do a show, it's because I'm aware of what's going on in the world. I absolutely soak up current affairs and current events and all the rest of it, and then sort of regurgitate. And I hadn't got that opportunity, and I found that very difficult. So I just concentrated on doing artworks and drawings and painting.
Which I have to tell everyone, if you could get a bit of plug for Lisa here, Flux Magazine. David's got 6 pages on the site. It is just beautiful.
I can't believe it. Thank you so much.
It's interesting, David. I've loved art since I was a kid, and I was talking about what is a good artist, and I said it's someone that speaks to you, and your art speaks to me. I mean, I see it. I can feel sometimes your pain, your joy. And it's amazing. And Lisa, the editor, right away went, "Oh my God, we have to have David Hoyle." His work's amazing. No, you don't sell much of your work.
No. Well, I'm a bit weird like that. But I am hoping to change that, Stephen, because I do the works, they are cathartic, basically. And plus, I'm not a very good member of the capitalist system. I never know how much to charge for them or anything like that. And so it's quite difficult, but I am getting ready to do an exhibition with Lee Baxter, who's in the photography that's in the Flux magazine. And we're doing a joint exhibition at our friend Rob's apartment here in Manchester. And he's very kindly opening up his home. And there'll be my paintings and collages and Lee's wonderful recent photography.
Well, that's amazing. Now, I once described you as Kate Bush and and Lindsay love child, whose godfather was Frankenfurter. Now, I realised you were in the Rocky Horror Show when you came to London. You played Riff Raff.
That's true. In the early 80s, I came to London, and I was fortunate enough to end up in a fringe presentation of the Rocky Horror Show, and we did the gay clubs of the South Coast. And I was very lucky, Stephen, because my character was Riff Raff, so I had the time warp, and you can't fail really because everybody loves it.
Yeah, it's my favorite show, I have to say. Actually, my dad took me to see that.
It always gives you a lift, And I mean, when you see the film, that performance of Tim Curry is absolute genius, and it just can't be faulted.
It's interesting. Tim did say in interviews that other ones played at camp, and he never felt that Frankenfurter was ever camp. And some made some mistakes during it. And and fairness, people going to see your act, which someone said to me, "Is it a drag act?" And of course, it's not a drag act whatsoever, is it?
It's theatrical, I mean, I try to do the makeup so that you can see me as clearly at the back as you would at the front.
Famously, you said you went out for one night and came back 3 years later.
True. Yeah, that was London in the early 80s. It was marvelous to get away from Blackpool and to sample the fruits, the forbidden fruits. Of course, it was wonderful.
Did you feel you fell into addiction during that period, or was it just?
Yes, I did. I think I'm like a lot of people. Gay people. We were encouraged to be ashamed of ourselves and all the rest of it when we were children, and sadly, it does have a knock-on effect. And I think it makes us very prone to addiction. And I still am. I'm still a naturally very addictive nature. And in those days, the early 80s, it was like amphetamines mostly, you know what I mean? So I think I ended up weighing about 8 stone, and it was very goth at the time, at the early 80s in London, it was quite wonderful. Everybody looked like death warmed up, and the music of Mark Almond, there was Mark and the Mantlers and all that sort of thing, and Susie and the Banshees, and everybody looked like they'd been disinterred,
And Boy George, who you performed with.
He was wonderful. I mean, his makeup was so inspiring. And I lived in a flat in Tufnell Park, and the only decoration in that flat was a page torn from, I think, Smash Hits, blue tacked to the wall of Boy George, and that was the only decoration in the whole flat. And I never thought that one day I'd meet him or do a song with him or perform with him at Leicester Square for the Pride event. I never thought that would happen, obviously.
Going to put spoiling it for the others at the end of this so people can hear it, because this is such a great record. It should be re-released.
Yeah.
Because I really enjoy
it. Was amazing to work with him, to see how he works and how quickly and how professionally. Was an amazing experience, you know.
You know, there's so many people are suffering from depression right now after the lockdown. I mean, I dread opening up Facebook or a paper and seeing someone I know who's taken their own life right now. It's terrifying, especially among autistic people. This is never ending, the list. And you yourself have battled depression all your life. I wonder if you'd like to share a little bit of your story and then give some advice to people.
Yes. Okay. I personally think that if you are of a sensitive disposition, and as a child, you've been exposed to genuine hatred and this very negative, constant drip feeding of negative information about you. Also, we live in a very cruel system. It seems to still be winner takes all. Capitalism isn't the kindest system on earth. So if you're sensitive and you don't have that sort of sharper elbows, sharper knees way of being, you can be left behind. And this is very unfortunate. And it does lead to depression. Because speaking personally, my own sense of self-worth, I really have to work at it. Self-esteem, non-existent. Self-confidence, very, very, very low. And all these things I have to work at. I would say what's important is if you need, and I've had to do this recently, if you need help, you have to ask for it. And that can be the hardest part, the asking for it. I mean, I'm 15 months off 60, so I feel in a little way a bit of a failure that at this stage in my life, I still need help, but I'm a human being and I'm sensitive. I live in a cruel system, so I'm over it. I've asked for help and I'm currently getting it. I'd also say, Stephen, what's really important is having decent people around you, people that you can rely on, people you can trust, people, you can create your own family. And this is the wonderful thing about being a member of the LGBTQI+ community. We are there. What I love about my shows is that people come to the shows not just to be entertained, dare I suggest, but to meet one another, because they know that they want to meet somebody like themselves, you know, who's beautiful, who wants a kinder, fairer, more equitable world. And they know that there's a good chance of meeting somebody like that at one of my shows. And I love that aspect of it. And I love the fact that people have met life partners at my shows. You know, they've met wonderful friends at my shows, and these friendships have endured. And that is gorgeous.
And I think you've said it there. I should have, now I'm 60.
Yeah.
So you
can't believe that I've got to this age.
You're told that by 60 you should be this. But there really isn't any, there should never be a set of what people should be or what they should be doing. And that's what causes a lot of mental health issues. I mean, I beat myself up if I'm not doing, I've not got 3 things on out there, or I'm not writing a new book, or I'm not doing something. But I've always and I don't want to take that away. But, you know, sometimes I have to say to myself, well, hang on a minute, let's look at what you have done as opposed to.
Absolutely. I mean, it's they've got so much to be proud of, you know. I suppose sometimes, you know, we can torment ourselves and think, oh, well, you know, where's my Tuscan villa? Where's my infinity? You know what I mean? This sort of thing. But these are just material possessions. What's really important is to get through the day, have decent friendships and relationships, know that you do have people in your life who care about you, that love you as you are, and aren't making you feel bad because you're not how they would wish you to be.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about, in fairness, we also have to point out that sometimes I remember coming onto the gay scene and thinking, great, they're all going to be my new best friends. Everyone's going to be great to me. And some were just bloody predatory. And others were downright evil and bitchy.
Yeah,
so it's not always the world, oh, great, here we are, the gays, because they're not always.
Come to my shows and you will meet the kinder, side
when I
of life.
come to your shows, I must say that the thinking people, you know,
Yeah,
and
very
it's
discerning.
really interesting is you do have people, some of the people you're talking about conservatives, you do have very conservative looking people sitting there. And then you have, you have the ex-Blitz kids. And I mean, it's a really mixed.
Well, sometimes looks can be deceptive, and I mean, I think about last night's football match, the semi-final. The chap from Denmark who scored the first goal.
Yeah.
I saw a description of him in The Guardian today, and they described him as looking like a 13-year-old chess player.
This is a new song called Spoiling It for the Others, and it's for all the trannies and the exhibitionists in the house.
Your indifference burns bright. When you're not here with me, yours is a dull light.
You stay with him because he gives you more of all the things that keep you trapped and bored.
No wonder there's a lump in your throat. You're part of a slow-burning suicide cult. You say that you wanna be free, so why don't you do it with me? 'Cause we're spoiling it for the other. We're spoiling it for you. We're spoiling it for the other. Only decent thing to do.
For beauty, I will surely crash and burn and sell my soul for much less than you are.
I'll lock the door so you can never leave. I'll poison all your hopes and kill your dreams. No wonder there's a lump in your throat. You're part of a slow-burning suicide cult. You say that you wanna be free, so why don't you do it with me? 'Cause we're spoiling it for the other. We're spoiling it for you. We're spoiling it for the other. It's the only decent thing to do. Love is paradoxical, it's toxic and it's chemical. It's murderous, nonsensical, that's love. Love is truly avant-garde. It's violent, it's heated, it's lampshade dark. Love can be the darkest part of you. 'Cause we're spoiling it for the other. We're spoiling it for you.
What you're talking about, love, what's so fucking interesting? Well, I'll come to see your show if you can get them together. Come, Tom.
It's the only decent thing to do.
We're all equally beautiful here, love.
'Cause we're spoiling it for the other.
Are you worth more points than us?
We're spoiling it for you.
I hope you die before me.
We're spoiling it
Do us all a
for
favour.
the other. It's the only decent thing to do.
No, listen, you're back on the Royal Vauxhall, you know, which is the church really, and had acts, the acts way back. I mean, how many years has it been open? Since the 60s, 70s, 60s? Yeah.
Oh yes, the mid 19th century. Yeah, absolutely, and it's there, and it stands sentinel in the heart of Vauxhall, and it's the beating heart, and it's you know, I could wax lyrical about the Royal Vauxhall Tavern.
Missy Shufflewicks appeared there, Mark Fleming, Terry Toole, a host of royalty back then, and of course,
Lily, of course, you know. I used to see Lily in the early 80s. I used to go to that show, Stars of the Future. You know, I used to stand at the back because I was terrified that she might speak to me. Little realizing that one day I'd be on that stage myself, you see.
What
So
does it mean to you when you come to London? What's the Vauxhall Tavern mean to you when you come to London?
everything. It means everything to me. I'm so proud of my connection there, you know, because they facilitate me and they allow me the freedom to do what I want to do and what I feel needs to be done. And I'm eternally grateful.
How long does it take you to get ready for a show?
Well, I'm very lucky when I do the RVT because Tom Shaw, who's a noted maquillage expert and stylist, he also portrays the lovely Pam character, the lovely old lady.
Yeah.
Well, Tom does Pam. And Tom does my makeup and styling when I do the shows at the RVT, you know, and it just gives it that professional edge.
You're on in Manchester next week, aren't you? Did I see?
Yes, I am. Yeah, at home. And I think it's going to be quite strange, really, Stephen, because it'll be outdoors for a start. So let's hope it doesn't rain, and it does a lot in Manchester. And the area is as big as a football pitch. You know, it's like at Wembley. And I'll be on the stage, and I don't know whether I'm allowed to sort of interact.
I know your early infancies with people like Blackpool Tower. I remember you telling me you used to go up there as a boy, and the glamour of it all. And David Bowie was some of your influences. Would that be right?
Very much so, absolutely. I mean, David Bowie, to be sat on the floor in front of Top of the Pops on a Thursday just gave you that half-hour window into the world that you wanted to live in, not the world that you actually did live in, which was all about pretending to be respectable, pretending to conform, pretending that you had this straitjacket of traditional masculinity. Yeah. Top of the Pops gave you that half an hour window into the world as it should be, in a way. And I still believe that.
David, what makes you happy?
Friendship, a glass of champagne. I'm even prepared to have a glass of Prosecco. Performing. Yeah. Finishing a picture or a collage where you've had to cut out all the letters and it's been very time consuming and stick them on, and it's only when it's done that you're going to see it, and it might take hours to create. That can make me very happy. Hearing about people doing well that have come from difficult backgrounds, that can make me very happy because that inspires us, you know, and inspiration is a two-way street. I get a lot of inspiration from the younger people, you know, Travis Alabanza. I had the pleasure of meeting Adam All, the drag king, recently, and that had a big effect on me, you know, and I realized that these people are the future, and it was absolutely fantastic. You know, if I was to die tomorrow, I know that there are these magnificent performers, you know, Ebony Rose Dark, all these wonderful people are doing it.
I have to ask you, you talk about your insecurities and self-doubt, but when you step on stage, does that all go, or and you become
it does in a way, yes. I'd say once the maquillage is on, you know, expertly applied by Tom, although I do have a go myself from time to time, and you put the hair on, believe it or not, that is a wig that I wear. And the costume, it is like armor plating, of course.
What artwork are you working on at the moment?
I'm working on collages at the moment that involve the Union Jack, and then I cut out letters and create sentences that I stick over the top. For example, the one that I've just finished now, picture if you will, a Union Jack, and then I've stuck the words, it says permanent child poverty and food banks. you know.
I know
Keeping it fluffy.
have you done Hedda Gabler yet?
Yes, we've done that. Yeah, and that's going to be released in the autumn. And that was the brainchild of Jen Hayes, the Liverpool-based theatre maker and director-producer. She also works very much with Jeremy Goldstein. You know, they're off to Australia, and then they're going to come back. And Hedda Gabler will be released via the Soho Theatre website in the autumn. Yeah.
Well, that's fantastic. David, if I was to make you Prime Minister tomorrow, what would you change?
Everything. Everything. I think that for a start, I'd put us all on a similar income. I'd get rid of the discrepancies, the financial discrepancies in our society. Everybody would have a home. Everybody would have a regular income. Everybody would have access to food. Preferably from Fortnum and Masons. You know, people who don't drink, that's fine. You drink the highest quality fruit drinks. Yeah. Some of us will be drinking the finest quality champagne. That's all I can promise.
David, thank you so much. That's been really good fun. Thank you. And can you just tell us where the show is in Manchester next week?
Yes, that's going to be at the venue Home. And as I say, it's outdoor, but it's a space that's just near the venue Home. And Home is situated on Whitworth Street, near the old Hacienda.
Oh, brilliant. And when can we see you in London again?
I'll be back at the Vauxhall the first Thursday of August.
Okay. Oh, brilliant. Okay, I'll definitely come and see you then. Thank you so much, David. Meet you soon.
Thank you. And lots of love to everybody. Keep fabulous, keep strong. Love you.